Hello, interwebs. I am Sebastian I am Sebastian from GonnaGeek.com. This is the back of Famous Faves and Funnies and Get Your Fun On. And silently behind the camera is sexy cameraman Big Dave. And this is F3G2. You can't take the internet from me since I found the double G. I am a leaf on the wind. See, I got my little serenity. I took a test on Facebook and it told me I was wash, which makes kind of sense. Funny, I play with toys, and I am very, very likely to eventually be impaled. Probably in the middle of one of these shows, because I really think that's the kind of thing people would tune in for. All right, we got Mondo books. Let's try and leave some space left on the internet when it's done uploading this. All right, we'll start with the obvious. Forever Evil number 6. This was, Dave, how'd you put it before?
Amazing.
You said something better than amazing.
I know, but that's what I can think of.
But yeah, this was really, really good. And holy crap, a lot happens. We got Luthor working on the solution to the Nightwing problem. A semi-permanent solution, but it seems Luthor was actually thinking the big picture, and this time it was Batman who let his emotions get the best of him. How fucked is it? Luthor will actually make a good asset to the Justice League when this is over and they put him on there, because he's thinking big picture, and it's Batman who's putting shit in jeopardy, like the whole world and Dick Grayson, by not thinking things through. Granted, Luthor doesn't have the best communication skills. He comes up with a plan, knows it's the best plan, assumes everyone else around him will know his plan is the best plan, and doesn't bother communicating said plan.
Not to mention Bruce has been a little emotionally compromised.
It's true.
Lately.
Bruce has got some issues. Little father-son things
so.
going on. Alternate Alfred proves that you should never, ever leave Black Manta in the Batcave. Not that this takes place in the Batcave, but that's where Alfred hangs out. Don't have Black Manta over for one of the Wayne fundraisers. Damn. Just damn. Sinestro, still cooler than an entire other dimension worth of villains. The man behind the mask, it's who I thought it was.
I didn't see it coming.
I didn't see this particular spin on him.
Even less so.
I knew who was going to be under there. There's only one good guy from the Earth 3 or Earth 2, whichever Earth this is at the moment. But whenever you assign them their world, there's always just one good guy. And I knew it would be him. I did not expect... It just surprised the mashaz out of me. Let's put it out of that. Mazaz? Mazaz. See, I could never have that kind of superpower because I'd never be able to activate it. Also, Captain Cold versus Johnny Quick. It's cool that just like Sinestro, some of these villains have taken they take their heroes very personally, and they know the dynamic that their enmity goes with their heroes, and they take it very personal that there are people from other dimensions that they see as posing as their hero. So they don't really pull any punches with the people. You're not the Flash. You're not Green Lantern. You're not Superman. You don't count. So that's pretty cool. Jonah Hex number 28 technically came out last week, but Famous Faces got shorted, so I didn't get to read it till just now. And it's so good. He's going home to the place where he belongs. But after the motorcycle accident from last issue, when they find him, his face is even more a mess than usual, and they just assume it all happened as part of this crash. So they fix his face. Including the cataract on his eye, so he can see now, and he's got his face. And then Booster Gold shows up and sends him home. Apparently, in the New 52, Booster Gold is not in the 5 years of DC continuity that exists now. Booster's not the don't mess with the time stream time cop that he once was, because apparently he has no problem just going, okay, kind of a white trash chick from 2014. Sure, I'll send you back to the Old West with Jonah Hex, whose face has been fixed through cosmetic surgery. How could that possibly affect the time stream? I'm Booster Gold, bitch. So he sends him back. And I get Booster Gold, which makes me happy. This book, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is one of those it's one of the most underrated books going out there. This book has been great since the get-go. It's pre-52, pre-New 52, Jonah Hex was great. All-Star Western, New 52, Jonah Hex is great. You're not reading it. I don't know why. I keep telling you it's great. Go read it. Get some trades. Catch up, bitches. Earth 2, Shattered Fate 21. So good. Any doubts I had about Tom Taylor taking over for Robinson, they're gone. They're gone. There's not a single doubt. All right. I was happy with what he's done so far. I'm thrilled with the way this is working. Plus, while it still may not end so happily for Kal-El, they showed, without going over, you had to infer, people. It was implied, you had to infer. There's a reason that Kal-El is so himself and yet so evil, and we found that out when we had our brief moment. There's a brief cameo by the Mr. Miracle of Two Worlds, because both of them are here, Sloan and why do I never remember? Mr. Miracle and what are they? Fair Play. What the hell's the Fair Play guys?
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific. There's too many misters. There's Mr. Because you got the Mr. Terrific who never took Sloan, who never took the name Mr. Terrific. You got Mr. Terrific from New 52, Earth Prime, New Earth, whatever they're calling the main Earth these days. And then you've got Mr. Miracle, all there, all just as controlled as Superman. And there's even part of the dialogue of just, wow, I'm impressed you can control us mentally, but still leave us our personalities. And the guy's like, that's the way that works. And then it cuts to Superman talking, and you know, a little light bulb goes on in your head, and you So there's always a chance that we could get Superman to be Superman again, or at the very least that Superman could switch back, die heroically, leaving the play for the new fields, new characters on the field. But it makes me happy. You do not want to be the Atom of this world. He gets kind of disarmed and then beaten with said arm. Just because you can grow big, don't fight with Apocalyptian Superman. Don't do it. Really, really good stuff. New Warriors #2. So beautiful to look at. That Marcus Toe artwork just makes me so happy. Chris Yost can write. I love Chris Yost. You know I love the Warriors. This issue focuses on your split between Speedball and Justice meeting Sun Girl, and between Hummingbird and Scarlet Spider meeting, I don't know what you should call it, Electric Eel, Black Eel, whatever, meeting the New Atlantean.
Something eel.
And it's good. And then you got Nova kind of on his own and captured. It's good. It's really good. I do still wish they're writing some great pre-Civil War Speedball. I really want something that acknowledges that he's still the Speedball who came so far in from going from Penance to the Dan Slott Christos Gage. What was that? There was Avengers something. Or was he even in that? Did he not join that till Avengers Initiative became
Academy,
and again Christos Gage fixed him. Don't what Christos Gage fixed. Don't even what Christos Gage broke, because he's Christos Gage. Leave that alone. His writing is sacrosanct in my world. But that was really, really good.
Bring the substance back to the character.
Quantum and Woody. Holy crap! #0. It looks like a little golden book. But it's the goat story. There have been some serious change-ups since his original incarnation. I think in the original continuity, he had eaten an Eternal Warriors map, and that's what gave him that's what gave him his powers. In this, he was there when the boys were kids. He was there when the machine that the father invented was being used on a bigger machine that didn't quite work. He was there when it went awry and got doused with some of the effect of that. And then every villain in that crazy group that the boys just fought, each one of them tested on him all during the night. They're all sneaking in one at a time because each one wanted to be the first to experiment on him. So they all kind of sneak. And then when the lady goes in the morning to do hers, it's too late. Everybody's done. She's like, oh, this is just a mess. But the last page of this, I'm not going to reveal it to you. Oh my goodness. Holy shockaroony. Explains everything so well and so sad. Yet so powerful. Holy crap. Wow. Well, who writes these things over here? James Asmus and Tom Fowler. Well played. Well played, Asmus and Fowler. Well played. I didn't see that coming. She-Hulk #2. So great. It's so different than everything Charles Soule does. I love me some Charles Soule. That's if you ever watched my old show on any of the other sites, you already know that. If you're just watching this, I loves me some Charles Soule. You'll find that there are certain writers I get very excited about. Two of them are Charles Soule and Christos Gage, in case you couldn't tell from what you've just seen. So different tonally and everythingly from his normal stuff, but so great. If you like things like Marvel's Mark Waid's Daredevil or Mender doing Hawkeye, who's writing Hawkeye?
Remender.
It's Remender. If you like
Matt Fraction.
It's Fraction. All right. If you like either of those, you're gonna like this. If you don't like either of those, you're still gonna like this because I said so. You got the law. You get Hellcat. Everything. It's great. It's like holistic comic story writing, because what starts out as looking like just little things, everything comes full circle by the end. And by the end of the issue, you got, oh, so she's doing this. All right, so this is like no. There's a point, and look at how that tied in nicely to everything that's going on. So, and she's building her little law firm in a building that's rented by a mutant who lost her powers on M-Day, but knows how tough it was to be out there with powers and the way people. So there's a building in New York City run by a depowered mutant who only leases to people with powers. So the whole building is just, so on the one hand, if while they're still not necessarily heroes or villains, if the building gets attacked, everyone in there has a better edge to be able to take care of themselves from said things. Tales of Honor #1. Hey, I got a Tales of Honor post. It's a really good over. This is expanding the universe that David Weber set up with his novels, with Honor Harrington, sci-fi, military sci-fi, really good stuff. If you've read the books, you'll like this. If you haven't read the books, check this out. And if you like it, go get the books. And you can read some of those things without pictures. You can do it. I have faith in you. Not you over there. You guys. That guy, no. You just read the comic. But the rest of you read the Turok #2. This is not so much Turok Dinosaur Hunter yet, so much as Turok user of dinosaurs to his own advantage. Apparently, the way this is set up, the British are coming. The British Empire has what they call the Dragon Knights. Apparently there's dinosaurs living and breathing in England. Possibly inbred. Royal family dinosaurs. Hello. I'm going to age you now. Oh, it is Artosaurus. So Turok's tribe is in trouble, but they weren't nice to Turok, so he's really not giving a shit. But the guy who was trying to kill Turok last issue is now like freaking out, and Turok's like, fine, we'll do this. And Turok is smarter than everybody. And it's just it's just really, really good and a lot of fun. And I like the feathered dinosaurs and the idea of the British come over with just dinosaurs and just start, okay. And they just keep, it's very You know, probably a lot like what on what Conquest was like in the times. People just yelling in their language and getting mad that the natives don't speak it. So I'll feed you the dinosaur. If they had dinosaurs, they totally would have done that. But it was really, really good and really well drawn. And I'm liking this. I can't wait for. I already got next week's Dynamite stuff. Came yesterday, so they're like a week ahead with their mailings. And it was a light week, but one of the books that's in there is Magnus Robot Fighter #1. So I'm dying to read that. Green Hornet #10. Really good. We finally get the revelation of who exactly is leading the group of Nazis that are messing with everything in the Nazi saboteurs. You get some great Kato moments, and it's Mark Waid. He's on that list, in case you're wondering, that list of writers that will never do anything. They could write. I don't know. They could write a book that kills all my favorite characters. Why not? Everybody else does. But but I'd still love this stuff. All right. So read this. Es très bien. From Green Hornet to Green Arrow, because we like green. It's not easy being green, especially. Oh my God. Especially if you're Green Arrow. Green Arrow has kept a lot of arrows in a lot of places through the years, but this time he shows you that it is, it's not a good place to keep your arrow, right through your fucking skull. Next issue should prove interesting. He's confronting the various other, there's the tribe of the arrow, the tribe of the axe, the tribe of the, all the outsiders groups. I think the fist, the shield, the axe, the spear, the oldest weapon, the spear.
So all primitive weapons.
Yeah, and his half sister Emiko is still buying into Komodo's various lies and BS, but is starting to see through it and question things. That doesn't help Ollie so much because he's got a fucking arrow in his head. So that's a problem to be confronted at a later time, apparently. I don't see it as overwhelmingly. I'm not concerned about it being overwhelmingly permanent because he still has an ongoing that they've solicited for 3 issues past this for. He's got a TV show that's doing great. I don't see them killing Green Arrow and replacing him anytime soon. He hasn't had time to have Connor Hawk. The only Connor Hawk we have is over on Earth 2. The Movement #10. I'm gonna be so sad when this book ends, and I'm gonna blame all of you because I know I'm reading it. And they say not a lot of people are reading it. That's why it's ending. So it must be you guys, both of you watching this show. So you should have read this. Damn you old whales. It was really good. Especially you got Batgirl working in, and you got Batgirl and a Gail Simone created team being written by Gail Simone. So really, there's a lot of exposition, but done in a way that it's not just they're talking when it's going to happen, and I got more explanation about these characters and their motivations in this issue than I have in the previous 9, and that's not to say that there weren't, that it was lacking in those 9. This was just a very why are we doing what we're doing kind of issue, and it was really, 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 really good. And I'm going to miss so many of these characters when they're when this book is canceled. I am saddened that since their city is so important to them that we can't just justify them coming to, Gotham so that Gail can have them all running around as like part of Batgirl's little team or something. Because the city, Coral City, I think. Coral City is so integral. It may as well be a member of the team. It's definitely a cast member, and to pull them out of it,
have the syndicate eradicate it. Problem solved.
You're a thinker, Dave. You're a thinker. This is why we keep him behind the camera. He's just blowing up cities for story purposes. Loki, Agent of Asgard. There was much debate yesterday. Many people in the store thought that Loki on this cover looks a lot like John Travolta. So clearly he's calling Thor Adel Kareem or whatever. I happen to think that this Loki looks like 22-year-old Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Which would make sense as a God of Mischief, but wouldn't make sense as a book as great as this is. Because this was really, really, really good. Who writes this? This is that, I forget his first name, but Ewing. Where's the title page? Come on, why you gotta hide it? Al Ewing, who also writes another book I'm loving, Mighty Avengers. So good. So much happens that I didn't read the Kieran Gillen Young Loki stuff because I tried. But Kieran Gillen is not on my list of writers that I love. And I liked some of his stuff, but most of it just really does nothing for me and seems kind of forced clever, and everybody seems to buy into it and like it, and I think, sheep. But, I'm judgmental. I'm also just mental. I've heard it both ways. But yeah, this Loki working on Lorelei, and the whole time they've got you, the reader, thinking, is this person with Lorelei? But it's not. Loki knows what he's doing, though. Loki meets a girl who can't be lied to. She's like a human lie detector. And there's a spark there, because, I don't know, maybe it's the challenge, maybe it's opposites attract, but Loki likes her. The whole time he's trying to hunt down Lorelei, who is going to be in the next episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's going to be Lorelei versus Sif. So look at the market, the woo around there. Lorelei, as you know, is Amora's younger sister. She's like baby Enchantress, who had a relationship with Loki. This is the part I didn't know. I did not know that when Loki turned to Kid Loki, real Loki came back, killed the soul of Kid Loki, and moved into his body. Even though when he died to become Kid Loki, his purpose was to erase his own sins and have a fresh start and not have to be the bad guy. But some part of his consciousness still existed, so it killed the soul of Kid Loki and then moved into the body to erase the sins of his past and have a clean start. So somehow, I don't know why he killed the successful him to be able to do the same thing that was already happening. But there's another piece of evil Loki that's still out there that really doesn't care about redemption at all. So there's like Loki's spirit in the body of Loki, while Loki's spirit is in the body of Loki is out there hunting him. So there's it's a lot of Loki, but there's like a great. It's super well written. Everything is character driven. It's very clever, but without forced clever. It's a lot of fun. The art is really good, and there's a great. There's a whole throw up homage in here to like the old romance comics of the day, down to she's using her powers and kissing this guy who's come to get her, who's come to arrest her, and she's taking over his mind with her, and he's thinking, how can I tell her she's under arrest? Just like on one of those old romance comics. And it says, completing this issue, she heisted my heart. And that had me just I'm still cracking up. Just really well done. Lots of fun. Suicide Risk, number 11. Ooh, daddy-daughter issues to the extreme. Alright, so Leo isn't driving anymore. Requiem has taken over Leo's body. Now, they are the same person, they just don't know that, and there's dimensional stuff. You'd really have to read this, it'll explain it better than I will. It's really, really well done stuff that is deep, but presented through such a nice funnel that even people as not deep as myself, I'm quite shallow. Fish would not survive in me. And divers would never have to worry about getting the bends, because there's no depth, really. But there's a guy in here who uses telepathy exactly the way I would. Unfortunately, he's evil. But I guess maybe so am I, so could work. Really, really good. You should be reading Suicide Risk. Magneto number 1. Flawless. flawless. And unless there's two Walters, if this Walter is the same Walter who normally I've not enjoyed on anything. My friend Neil hates this guy. He's like, Walter, the Walter guy. You ever see the Walter guy? He can draw. He can, but there's always certain faces there's always some aspect to the book that he's been on that he hasn't been able to pull off. This book, he's pulled off everything. So if this is the same guy, forget it. He's graduated. This is stylistic. This is moody. This is tone. This is expressive. It's brilliant. All right, I'm officially a Walter fan. So if it's the same guy, you've wowed me. You've wowed me. If it's not the same guy, you've wowed me. I just didn't know who you were. Really, really, really good. And then, of course, Cullen Bunn writing. Magneto is at the same time he's like a humble, pragmatic egomaniac, if you can believe that. He knows he's got an ego, and he manages to be humble about his egomaniacal ways. I can't put it any clearer than that. It's a conundrum. And Cullen Bunn, who's on that list of writers, his book, flawless. Just flawless. Magneto, flawless. The character is highly flawed, but the book, flawless. Flawless. Archer and Armstrong, the first part of the Mission Improbable, where Bloodshot and Hardcore is sent after Archer and Armstrong. It goes about like you'd think. Bloodshot and Archer are having let's call it Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris level fight, while unbeknownst to him, Hardcore's getting Armstrong drunk. Because it'll be easier to subdue him that way. And he goes along with it and sees there are no red flags going off in his head that anything is amiss. So well done, but it's valiant, and they're just knocking it out of the park every time. Another book that got shorted last week was Jackhammer #2 by Brandon Barrows and what's the artist's name? And Ionic. Ionic is the artist's name. It's a superhero noir. And not like when Marvel did all their noir line. It's a former superhero turned private detective. So well written and very, very clever. Brandon Barrows can work in... it's meta, though not necessarily for the characters. Like, they don't know they're in a comic. But Brandon does, and he knows the reader does. And he throws a lot of lines out there for you. It's like watching old... while it's not zany or crazy, it's like watching old Looney Tunes where when you're a kid you can watch it and see it as one thing. When you're older, you realize what your parents were laughing at was something totally different. So there's stuff in there that as its own comic, it's just right there. And then there are a couple of nods where none of the characters break the fourth wall, but Brandon knows you're out there and winks at a couple of panels, and it's kind of cool. The art is very clean, very, I don't want to say simple as like a negative, but very simplistic, but very energized. There's a lot, it's very gesture and very motion, very kinetic, I guess is what I'm looking for. Really, really good. Second issue from Action Lab. Get this, you'll like it. Clone number 15. When will the hurting stop? They get screwed over more and more and more. Every time someone's helping them, it's like a step forward. For every 2 steps forward, you got to take a step back. They're not getting very far. Although I can think of worse fates than having to live on an island full of ridiculously hot Asian clones. Especially ones who are not above... there's one clone that doesn't want to go. And they're told to use any means necessary to convince him. And the whole time it's building like this is going to be an assassination attempt. But no, this is a sex in a public bathroom attempt. And he still says no, but he says, the answer is still no, although I appreciate how you asked the question. And she's like, and there's a great panel of just the look on her face as she's saying this, and it's just I don't think I've ever seen a panel that catches perfectly that. What the fuck, you bastard! Look, it's really, and it just really, it's one of my favorite panels. Not above it is the panel with the actual sexification. That's a nice panel too, but the "you son of a bitch" look on her face afterwards. It's really more of a seriously you kind of look on her face, and it's just perfect. It's one of I think my favorite drawings in the history of ever. So oh yeah, Juan Jose Rip, congratulations there. I love this book. Read this book. Dayman number 3. Right? It's slow going because it comes out, but holy crap, it's ripped up the end. I can't wait for the next issue. I'm gonna have to, because Brian Steelfree's art is gorgeous, and like most gorgeous things, you got to wait for that. But it's so good, and it's like Vampire Mafia, but not hokey. It's really good indie movie Vampire Mafia, indie mob movie that happens to be vampires. That's the best way to put it. Almost like heist-esque, well, there's no heist, but that kind of feel, that kind of, we've put together our crew and here's another crew that's coming in, and it's really, really good. Loving it. Moon Knight number 1. I said okay. Jared got mad at me because Jared works here at Famous Faces. Jared loves Moon Knight. He didn't like the Brian Bendis Moon Knight. He says this was awesome. I say it has a lot of potential to win me over. I mean, it's Warren Ellis. I liked it. I think it's just going to take the... Moon Knight's a character, every time somebody writes him, they reinvent him. He's been reinvented here, and I think it's just going to take me 2, maybe 3 issues for it to... For this incarnation to fully sink in on me. I liked it. It was very good. The art is nice. The story is good. I just I need to give it a little more time to find out what the feel, identity, and persona of not just Moon Knight the character, but this particular Moon Knight book. I need to figure out what it is fully before I can dive into it. You know what I'm saying? Uncanny X-Men number 18. Really, really good. Flips back to when Kitty first came over, and Kitty and Scott have their talk about, well, Kitty phases her fingers into his brain and debates killing him for killing Professor X, and he talks about, look, do you really think that was me and not the Phoenix? How come everybody can? And he brings up a good point. Everybody kind of accepts the fact that, well, when Jean had the Phoenix, she ate a planet, but that wasn't her. The Phoenix made her do it. You can't kill Jean. Scott has the Phoenix, kills one person, and nobody can forgive him for it because of who that person was. So I get both sides. Yeah, but this was Professor X. That's cold. We knew him. We didn't know the broccoli people. But nonetheless, how come we can accept that the Phoenix makes people eat planets? It's not their fault, but the Phoenix makes somebody kill Charles Xavier. That's got to be your fault. So, Nova, number 13 and 14. Both really good story-wise. I liked 13 better. I like the artist. I like David Baldeón, but I didn't like him on this. This is not a good feel for him. Not a good fit. But it's both of these have Nova teaming up with Beta Ray Bill, because in the issue before this, I guess in number 12, Nova found a distress signal from an old Nova helmet, found it was powering a ship, helped the people on the ship. Turns out the people on the ship were bad guys and totally just fooled Nova into helping them get back on their feet. And now Beta Ray Bill and his people are trying to hunt these people down. Detective number 29 ends 2 things. It ends the Gothtopia story, and it ends John Layman's run on Detective. I was a little sad to see both end. Also, we get you can see Bruce has some feels, some beyond getting on a rooftop feels for Catwoman, but he's Bruce, so he plays that all close to the vest and is willing to distance himself at the cost of their feelings for each other. So that happens. Action number 29. Here's my review for it. I read it. I don't remember a damn thing. Swamp Thing number 29. So damn good. Charles Soule writes such a... I've said this before, but I'll say this again because it's a new show on a new site. This is everything you would want about a Vertigo Swamp Thing that just happens to take place in the mainstream DCU. But it's Vertigo level thought, interaction, concepts. My God, Alec Holland gets played so often, he may as well just turn into whatever wood they make a Stradivarius out of. Because he should just be he should just be an expensive high-class violin because he gets played constantly. He's the worst at human interactions ever. Wolverine and the X-Men number 1 was okay. I loved the old Wolverine and the X-Men, the Jason Aaron, the Jason Latour Wolverine and the X-Men. I like it. There's a lot of the same characters. I don't like what's happening with Quentin. I like that Quentin's getting the spotlight. Quentin Quire become one of my favorite characters. But it seems like, and to be fair, this started in the last issue of the other Wolverine and the X-Men. There was a lot of character growth for Quentin Quire that in character Quentin realized he was growing as a character and that he didn't want to. So he has stopped as a result, but now as a result of that, of his rebelling against his own character growth, he seems to be growing out in a direction I liked where he was going, and so I get this may be somebody else's cup of tea, this may be more opinion than whatever, but it just feels intentionally, it feels forced, but I think it may be supposed to be intentionally forced. I don't know, but I'm not 100% thrilled with that. Batman Superman Annual number 1 was really, really good. It addresses... They beat Mongol in the last few issues of Batman and Superman. The issues that I didn't like, the Brett Booth issues with the Toy Man and whatever, it just didn't do anything for me. But along the lines, they beat Mongol. Mongol's son shows up and tells him, look, now to appease our family, you have to bring... I'm going to destroy this whole world, or you can bring 2 members each from your families to come up and fight, and he's going to make them fight each other, it turns out. But Batman takes the Red Hood and then Batgirl because she kind of forces herself along and Batman wasn't going to bring her, and the Red Hood, it's almost like Batman picked what he felt was the most expendable member he had left. They don't actually come out and say that. Clearly Nightwing's kind of busy and not talking to him, and then this is taking place before the whole Forever Evil story, but it's almost like he chose the most expendable. Superman's got Steel and Supergirl, and then it addresses their loss. Bruce is discussing the loss of Damian, and Superman and Supergirl discussing the loss of Superboy, whom they didn't really know that well, and they both feel on different levels that they let down and failed because he gave himself up. But this raises the interesting question: if they know that they keep saying he's most likely dead, if they see the new Superboy, they should be able to pick up on the fact that it's not him. And at the very least, Krypto shows up in here, and they're like, where was he? And that's when they started dressing. It's like, he was with Superboy. A dog has great senses and can smell the fact that you're not his Superboy. A dog with Kryptonian senses is going to pick up on that. So there should, and that should be enough to make the others realize, Krypto really liked that kid, and now he doesn't. Curious. It's got split art between Kenneth Rocafort and Philip Tan and Jay Lee. One of them I'm not even 100% sure who. I know it's not the Jay Lee stuff, but one of the good things about Krypto is they have done him, while he's still more wolf-like than dog-like, he stopped looking like that weird saber-toothed cat thing that he was in his first appearances. At this point, however, there's a couple panels in here where he's like some kind of monster. He's like this huge anatomic nightmare. And if I could find, look at this thing popping out behind Superman in that panel there. I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, that's not something you can pass off as a dog on Earth. I don't know what that is. That's like an evil Chinese dragon.
Trying to be a dog?
Yeah, I don't know. All right, Mark Miller's Starlight was actually really good, and I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, a Mark Miller fan. Mark Millar, if you're ignorant. It's Miller. It's just Miller. He just spells it with an A because he can. But it's like a retired Flash Gordon, only nobody believes. He went on an expedition into space when he was younger, ended up sucked through a wormhole, and had all of his adventures, then came back to Earth, and no one believed him. His sons are kind of dicks. His wife has just died, and at the end, his spaceship shows back up, and he's going to go, I guess, back off and pick up where he left off in the dash. So it's like the dashing space hero, but he comes home not to be a dashing, and has to. Almost kind of like the Pevensey kid, the Pevensey kids from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where they live their whole lives as like kings of Narnia and queens of Narnia, and then they come home and oh shit, we're 13 again, and middle of England, and no one cares who we are, So it's got that feel, very, very, very good tone wise. Also, Jupiter's Legacy, another Mark Miller that I'm liking. Who knew? This issue takes place a while after the previous issue, which works because this book came out a while after the previous issue. But after the son and brother of the Utopian have killed him and now are running the world, his daughter and her kid have gone into hiding. But he's out there saving the world without anybody knowing. So even though they're always looking for heroes because they're trying to track down. So it's good. It's very in-depth and just really, you should check that out. Green Lantern number 29 is kind of an exploration of a couple of things. You've still got Walker, not Saint Walker anymore. He feels that he doesn't earn that. Feeling kind of hopeless. You've also got Hal starting to be more of a progressive thinker on how to run the Corps now that he's in charge, and calling in a female character I don't know, and then Kilowog and Sadak to be his his kind of he's it's not, they're going to be like a committee. Like they're becoming the new guardians of their own, but they can't call themselves that because that's Hal's book. I mean that's Kyle's book. Afterlife with Archie continues to be the best book. So much better than it has a right to be. So much better than anyone would have expected. So good. I have never cared about Archie characters before, and yet I find myself worried as zombies close in on some of them. Although I gotta say, according to this, Cheryl Blossom and her brother, creepy as. Even the zombies are gonna stay away from their house. Just like we don't want what you guys are serving up. All right, we got some trades, and then we'll wrap this baby up. Black Coat, the Blackest Die. Black Coat is a Revolutionary War character. He, in this is volume 4 of his adventures. In this one, he's set up and given some, not false information, but incomplete information. So he ends up coming across as a traitor, a traitor guilty of treason, tried, in the Blackest Die, in the eyes of George Washington. So that kind of sucks for him. Really good. Imagine the Revolutionary War with a Daredevil-like superhero, and also with the occasional thing like you've got like vampires and people, cults and things of supernatural kind of superpowers. Quantum and Woody trade. This is volume 2. Right? Volume 2? Yeah, volume 2. It's Valiant, it's Quantum and Woody. This is so good. And finally on our list from Dark Horse, we've got Jay Nitz and Greg Smallwood's Dream Thief, which I loved as a series so much that I bought the trade of a series I already paid for. It's a guy who finds a mask that gives him powers that he can't quite control. You know how some people are like, oh, I'm so good at that I could do it in my sleep. He's actually hunting down bad people and killing them in his sleep. He wakes up constantly on the floor near dead and goes, what the hell is going on? And it's the mask knows what you did, and in his sleep he becomes this kind of a force of vengeance that goes and rights wrongs by killing killers. And it was really, really, really good. So check that out. $17.99 Dark Horse trade. All right. Whew. That's it. All right, me and my little Serenity. We out of here.